Hello and welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis racing team. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jackie. We are a mum and son coaching team who have changed our lives through the sport of triathlon.
Our podcast aims to break down the mysteries of triathlon training and show you, the listener, how simple and flexible it can be so that it really does become part of your lifestyle and not just a hobby.
Hola, and welcome to another episode of Triathlonology, a podcast by Animis Racing Team. I'm Coach Ollie.
I'm Coach Jackie, and we are coming to you tonight from Portugal.
Yes, we are recording this while we are in our training camp in Quateria, in the Algarve near Vilamora, and we have we're going to talk about our Crowle event today. And then we're going to talk about our Crowle Triathlon event, and then we're going to talk about some exciting news that we've received today.
Yeah. So we've only got 2 or 3 weeks now until our next proper triathlon, which is a sprint and super sprint distance. So
At the Axome North Leisure Centre in Crowle on the 12th of May, 2024, starts at 8 a.m. Enter in the link below.
And if you don't know what a sprint triathlon or a super sprint triathlon is, super sprint is perfect for beginners because all you have to do is swim 200 metres and you don't have to swim it front crawl. People think you've got to swim front crawl. You have not. You can swim breaststroke. The only stroke you are not allowed to swim is backstroke.
Yes.
Because that's a recognised symbol that you are in trouble.
Yes.
So we don't want that.
No, we don't want lifeguards diving in and saving you unnecessarily.
No, because we see them practice and they're very good.
Yes, they are.
So, what else do you have to do after that? Well, you have to get out of the pool, and you go and run down the side of the outside of the pool, which is about maybe 20 metres or.
Yeah, I'd say probably 20-30 metres at most, on a nice concrete path.
Yep. So you're not getting nettles in your feet or nothing like that, and then you can go and pick your bike up in transition. First of all, putting your helmet on, as we all know in triathlon, that is one of the main rules. And then riding out towards Eastoft on very, very quiet country roads that are still super slick after having Tour de Britain in when, Oliver?
Oh, goodness. 2018.
Yeah, because it's prior to the pandemic, because that's how I live my life. And
the roads are really well maintained, despite tractors and combine harvesters going up and down them all the time. Probably why they're really well maintained, because they get looked after.
Yeah.
But the road is completely flat. I mean, unless you listen to my dad, who says it's uphill, it's not. It's not uphill. It's actually technically
below sea level.
Below sea level and a downwards elevation over all the course by about 11 metres, I think. So it's a really nice flat course for you to ride any roadworthy bike. So that can be, or you can ride a road bike if you've got one, or a triathlon bike if you've got one. Your old mountain bike that you found in the back of the shed.
Yeah, your shopping bike.
Yeah, we've seen people do them on
fat bikes.
Big fat boy tyres, massive, and do them on that. Yeah, you can pick on
as
any
long
bike.
as it's roadworthy, it is fine.
The course is exceptionally well signposted, even for an out and back course. Even though it is a straight line or straight road ish, we still put plenty of course markings on there so you can't get lost. And we have marshals at all the key junctions to make sure that they're turning you round.
Yeah, and also that the rules of the road are being adhered to.
Then when you get back into Crowle and back in towards the leisure centre, which is just behind the school, you then have to take your bike, your helmet off first, because those are rules in triathlon. Then put your bike back in its position on the racking, and you can set out on your run. And now if you're doing the super sprint, this is a 2.5k run. If you're doing the sprint, that's a 5k run.
But when we say run, you don't have to run.
No. And it's on a looped course, so you do a bit of a D-shaped run into the marketplace in Crowle from the school on the footpaths. Again, all the road junctions are marshalled, but in any event, they're all side junctions, where one of them in particular you can't get access to at the minute because of roadworks and stuff that's going on. And then if you're doing the super sprint, you just come back through the school, round the back on the field and finish under the finishing arch. And if you're doing the sprint, then you need to do 2 laps of that before you can finish under the finishing arch, where you will be greeted by our friendly announcer called Lee. He will be saying well done. We will then be stood there handing out our goodies and handing you your medal, which we need to order.
Well, yeah, we'll get the medals, no problem. And if you are come top in your age group, then you'll also get a trophy.
Yes, and there's an overall trophy for first, second and third in the sprint event. But normally we don't have any awards in the super sprint event because there are only usually a small amount of people enter it, and if we did awards then everybody would be winning. And while there's nothing wrong with that in principle, it's not something that we want to do.
No.
And we've been putting on this event since 2018.
2018
we did our first event in Crowle on like 7 weeks notice, because someone just said to us, "You think you could put a triathlon on here?" And we went, probs. So
off we
did it in 7 weeks and got that all going, and then we repeated it in 2019, didn't we?
Yes, we did, and that was a huge success. And then obviously we had the COVID years, and we put it on again in 2022.
Yep, where it came back with 2 iterations. So we've had a spring and an autumn. Well, if you can call September autumn, I suppose it would be if you were in America, wouldn't it? You call it the fall, but late summer in England. The spring and the late summer event in May, June, and then September for both times, so that there's plenty of time in between. You can enter it twice, and you can compare how much you've improved over the time period. Because as much as people say that they don't want to do a triathlon again, or they only want to do it once, our experience is pretty much universally that once people cross the line, I think it's the best thing they've ever done and are looking for another one to sign up for. And so many people tell us, "Oh, we'll be back next year, see you again next year," and it's really quite rewarding, isn't it? That they all love it. And what really makes it is all the volunteers that we get to put things together. So
because we don't just have the marshals, we have the photography club on the Isle of Axholme come and take all the photos, which we are really grateful for.
So they're all then free, available for athletes to download and save.
We have lots of volunteers who come and man all the crossings and all the important places.
Linda from the Scuba Divers Club comes and manages the car park, which is the key job, really.
Yeah, we couldn't manage
without.
I mean, Linda is absolutely brilliant at
managing the drive into the school and the leisure centre, and making sure that only people who are supposed to be there get in there, and that the people who are using the leisure centre aren't too inconvenienced by having to park in the school car park. But yeah, and she's really good. And then when she's done her car parking duties, is then on the run turnaround point where she's having to bike it, on the road where she's coming out. So she has a really busy day. And we're really very grateful for her and a friend and their children who come out and help every year or every event, and really make it safe and fun for everybody to do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and what we have got to share is that we've just found out this evening
we've won an award. But
not just any old award.
We knew a couple of weeks ago that we'd won the best small event for Yorkshire for Triathlon England, which was obviously massive, considering that it's an event put on by volunteers in our little small club, in our little small community, being recognised in the region of with lots of super big clubs who put on really excellent events like Skipton Triathlon and Leeds Bradford Triathlon, who put their events on all the time, and absolutely nationally famous events. And then little old
Crowle
Animis in Crowle wins the best regional event for Yorkshire and Humberside, and you're like, well,
we were thrilled with that.
We were, and that was a pretty good feather in his cap. And then just thought, okay, that's cool, let's tell people about that and get them to enter the event. And then on getting back from having a walk out to Decathlon this afternoon, because we always go to Decathlon when we're here to pick bits up that we've forgotten or discovered on the Decathlon website, Today's was buying headbands to go under his bike helmet so that we don't end up with sweat in his eyes.
Yeah, again.
We came back to the announcement on Triathlon England's Facebook page that actually our little event in Crowle had won the best event in England, the best small event in England nationally, full stop, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's like, you wouldn't say unbelievable, Jeff, because it's just never in his wildest dreams. We don't put them on. We put them on because we enjoy seeing people take part in triathlon, but to be recognised, wow, we're just absolutely thrilled to bits.
And it's a proper team effort because we couldn't do it without all the marshals, like volunteering the time and helping, but also being super helpful and super friendly and jolly on the course and encouraging of everybody, and all the athletes as well who went to the event, because everybody in there, and particularly the race referee in her report, said how friendly an event it was and how the athletes all encouraged each other no matter what their ability, and that really is what we sort of stand for as a club.
It is.
And what we want to foster in our club and our events, because it's the sort of thing that we've discovered when we got into triathlon like over a decade ago, because when we did our first triathlons, racing up and down that bypass in Hull, when it were absolutely wanging it down with rain, there were everybody to a person on the other side of the road as they were coming back, encouraging you,
shouting,
saying,
well done,
well
keep
done.
going.
And they were, whipping past on the TT bikes with the disc wheels on. But still had time for people who were at the start of, getting into triathlon and weren't as good as them. And nobody ever intimidated us or made us feel like we weren't supposed to be there or that they were a cut above. It was not like that at all. It was a really friendly environment and really welcoming. And that's what we've really tried to do ever since we set up our events, so that they're a mirror of what they're like when people come, which is why I suppose it's quite a few people's first event.
Yeah, because it is totally suitable for that. And we put ourselves in the athlete's shoes because we've been there and we want them to feel welcome, that they're doing a really great thing and enjoying it.
Yeah. That they're going to enjoy it more than anything out of that experience. They enjoy it all the way through.
Yeah, even to Sheridan's bacon sandwiches.
Yeah, Sheridan's bacon sandwiches are famous now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Sheridan who works as my office manager on our event days. Her and her husband Dean get their little pop-up tent out and the grill, and Sheridan makes the best bacon sandwiches, going by an absolute country mile. And people have them before the race.
Yeah.
And people have them while they're racing. Not while they're racing, but the spectators have them while the race is going on afterwards. She runs out of bread buns, and Dean, bless him, has to go out and get some more bread buns from Tesco.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a super positive environment, and
we get all the community involved as much as we possibly can. We try and get everybody to have some sort of part in,
because it's not just. It's really easy to just put an event, or not easy to put an event on, but it's easier to put an event on and not get any engagement with the local community and then naff everybody off because they've got people running through the streets or cycling through the streets and holding them all up. But we try really hard to get people in the village to buy into what we're doing. And
even from Mrs. Thing at Elan Gate.
Mrs. Tuck, yeah.
Mrs. Tuck at Elan Gate, she lets us use her car park. So, we try really hard.
We try and engage other voluntary groups for them to volunteer for us and to so they can sort of see what's they can be proud of Crowle, because it's another thing that happens in the village that can get talked about. I mean, winning this award is really like going to potentially puts Crowle back on the map a little bit, because how many people probably heard of that when you start listening to this podcast before we start bashing on about it all the time. But it's really nice that we're able to showcase our event in this way, or that other people who have no connection with us have recognised it as being something worthwhile celebrating. And so I mean, last year we were pretty. I mean, we did it. It was a great event, but we were pretty despondent because we'd worked so hard on it for like 5 months, and we hadn't got as many people as we'd had the year before, and it was sort of just about covering its costs, which, you know, as a club event, that's all it needs to do. But it's useful if it could put some money back into the coffers, so it can help sort of fund hiring the pool for swimming, or we can put extra training sessions on, or you know, pay external coaches to come and do extra sessions with us and for us. So we were, and you know, when you tally it all up and you think, I must have done 100 hours on this, and it probably not that doesn't account for like the 20 hours that you work, well, more than that, on the Saturday and the Sunday collectively before. So, and you think, actually I probably earned about £1 an hour.
But we didn't even earn that on it.
No, we didn't. Like, you would have
earned
for the club like £1 an hour.
Yeah.
It can be a pretty despondent. You think, is it really worth it to put all this effort in to get so little back for the club? But then, not only do we enjoy seeing people do triathlon and having a great time doing it, but then winning this award just sort of
it's made it all
worthwhile, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what we're hoping that is that now that this award inspires more people to do our event, and we can put more people through it, and they will see how great an event it is, and it'll just start growing again, like it did sort of pre-pandemic, because it's been tough as a race organiser, as we've said on our podcast before, that since COVID, to get people back and doing
sport
in general. So, or it certainly has been for us anyway, and we're not quite sure why that's the case, but hopefully this is the start to sort of boost and kickstart how we're the event starts to take off and multiply again, and we get some sellouts, and we have some happy smiley faces, and Sheridan sells some more bacon sandwiches.
Yeah, definitely. And that my husband will say, well, it's been worth it this time, because without him, he's also a stalwart of the event. He really he works hard, and he don't moan. Well, not much, but he just gets on with it. We give him jobs, and he just does them, and really he loves it. Yeah,
he does. Yeah, and he'll man mans the athlete car park, which again is not an easy job, because Mrs. Tuck's car park only holds so many people, and then once that's full, then you have to send them into Crowle to park on, residential streets or Potts Lane car park.
Yeah.
People aren't always necessarily happy about that, but it's just what it is. And he deals with that nicely, and then he comes and is a bit of a roving reporter for us, and roving marshal goes wherever we need a fire putting out. Fred will turn up and go there.
Yeah. So everybody really in the club, the athletes that we've got, if they're not competing, then they try and bring somebody who can help with the marshalling and what have you. I know we bang on about it a lot, but it really is a community club, and there's no big time Charlies. Everybody works for each other, and that, I think, is what we like to do with the event.
Yeah.
So
we're talking on the 24th of April, and the event is 100% taking place, because we've got sufficient numbers to know now that actually, with people entering at the last minute like they always do, we don't have to worry about it, and everything will be going ahead on the 12th of May. So all that we can really do is give you a rallying call to enter it. So if you are local to North Lincolnshire, within about an hour, this event is for you, because you can either do your first ever event, and what an achievement that'll be when you tell your colleagues that you've done a triathlon at the weekend, because people will look at you like you've got 3 heads, and then you'll think, well, I've done it, and then you'll do some more. Or if you're already a seasoned triathlete and you've got some experience, then you can come to our course, and you can pretty much, as long as the wind isn't blowing in both directions, which sounds like a freaky thing, but it does blow in both directions on the Isle of Axholme, you've got a really good chance of setting yourself a PB, and then having a measurement that you can, have a PB against in the future, because like I say, it's a super flat course. So if you're a reasonable cyclist in particular, you can lay some smack down, as the Rock would say. on the road. That's The Rock from WWE rather than anybody else, just in case that was a reference that people didn't get, because I realise now that I'm in my late 30s and some of these references people who are younger than me don't understand. Like my wife Jess, obviously most of the time don't understand what I'm talking about.
No.
So some context there for some readers of the podcast. Oh, yes, so you can enter it by going to our website, which is animisracing.com, and then following it through to events. Or if you go onto the Rider HQ website, which is our entry system of choice, you can then enter on there, and you can select the sprint or the super sprint and fill all your details in. And then just to sort of pre-warn everybody, you will just get an acknowledgement email from Rider HQ to say that you've entered the event. If you want to see what the course looks like, then all the maps are on our website, so you can have a look at those. And if you want to go and ride it, you absolutely can, and recreate, no problem.
But we don't have GPX files. We're not that linking.
No, we're not that tech savvy. To be perfectly
to be fair, I didn't even know what one of those were.
No, we don't have a Karoo map either, although we probably could do that easier.
Yeah.
Now.
But we ain't got time.
No, not before this event, but maybe before we do it in September.
Yeah.
But you will receive an email from us about a week before the event. So you'll receive an email from us about a week before the event to say thanks for entering. We'll be in touch with you the Thursday, Friday before the event with your start times and all that kind of stuff, because we leave the event open until the last possible moment, because people do literally enter last minute, and in the past we've had people ringing us up on the Saturday afternoon saying can we find them a place,
or rocking up at registration
on Sunday and saying can I start, and you're like okay, it's a bit more challenging but it's possible. So you won't hear from us formally with our proper race brief until either Thursday evening or more likely Friday morning before the event, which is plenty of time for you to get ready, because you already know where it is, and you will have seen our podcast and our Instagram videos and Facebook videos, the stories that tell you how to prepare for them. And if you are really, really stuck, then get in touch with us by email or through our social media, and we will happily help you out.
Yeah. So don't delay. Click the button below. Enter.
You might also see some promotional videos featuring my alter ego, Stanley Truman. So let us know what you think about them.
Yeah.
Right, so that's been an episode of Triathlonology. I'm Coach Ollie.
I'm Coach Jackie.
And we'll see thee.
Thank you for joining us today.
See you next time.
See you then. Or as we say in Yorkshire, see thee.